Hi, Chris. Thanks so much for joining us on Voices in Transformation, and thank you for telling us your story.
Well, thank you, Maria. Greatly appreciate you having me.
Well, you know what? I'm just going to jump straight in. I want to ask you a question because you underwent a transformation, a pretty big transformation a few years ago, 4 years ago, if I remember correctly. So, maybe set the scene of sort of the challenges, operational, commercial challenges that Rotary was facing 4 years ago that maybe triggered this transformation.
Yes, what triggered this was that we already had a system in place that a program that we were utilizing, and it was basically wasn't tailored towards our needs and wants. That's what really we were looking for. It was a third party system for an add on for this, a third party system for an add on for that. We were looking for an all inclusive program. We were also seeing steadily price increases. On top of that, the every time we had to implement a new program or another department had to implement a new program or an add-on, it was more training and more dollars towards that. So, we were really looking for one that was all inclusive, that had basically everything that we needed to operate our system and communicate with our customers more efficiently and effectively.
Well, it sounds like some of the problems that a lot of people are having nowadays as well, and I guess every dollar counts, right? So, I guess the question I have for you is, why did you think that a CRM system specifically was critical to helping you solve those challenges?
Well, we did some research, and we felt like the CRM approach would be what we needed to best suit our needs and wants. We went out and did a search, and we narrowed it down to three companies. And after those three companies, we felt like that we had a close relationship with Workbooks. And after hearing our aches and pains and our issues that we had in our pain points, I think that they could address how we communicate and how effectively our CRM can work beneficially for all aspects of our business, both operational, financial, and sales. So that's what we're really looking forward to, and it's all inclusive into one package. It's not a third party add on for this, a third party add on for that. So they could basically incorporate all we needed into one system.
And you know what? We don't have time for any complications, right? So I hear you completely. So how has CRM driven efficiency for your organization or for your field sales force, for instance? Can you give us any kind of examples?
Absolutely. We have approximately about 35 salesmen in our Salesforce team that are out throughout the United States, that are traveling on the road visiting our customers. And to be able to communicate with our customers and analyze the data, we can see trends where, we're in the lawn and garden industry where our blade sales should be dropping with a customer that normally they should be picking up. We can pick up on those trends. And what other areas of our product line are they not carrying that we need to do a better job of, and that they can better sell that product category to them as well. Operational, it's huge in being able to keep up with inventory levels. And we can at a moment's notice we can see where we're starting to see trends, buying trends to where there's a lot more going out than coming in, and we need to adjust those inventory levels to where we can keep that going, as well and supplying our customer.
You know, I love a supply chain question, so I've got to ask you one. So, how has the system helped you detect and respond to the supply chain or product quality issues more quickly?
Absolutely. We're dealing with over 10,000 products that we carry and distribute in the lawn and garden industry. If we see trends and we see issues, a salesman can report it definitely into our CRM, and it is immediately gone into our QC department, which picks up on those trends. Excuse me, and they do a better job of responding as soon as we start seeing some upticks. We get in contact with that vendor. If we're not the manufacturer, we get in contact with that vendor and say, listen, we're starting to see upticks. Are you seeing this on other levels as well? What do we need to look for? Do we need to put this item on sales hold and communicate with our customers there's an issue going
Mm.
on? It's just a better reaction time, much better than what we had before by phone conversation.
And that reaction time, do you think that what this new transformation has done, do you think it's giving you the competitive edge, or maybe it's a little bit of a secret weapon in your industry?
I think it's a little bit of a secret weapon. It's all about making sure that the customer's satisfied at the end of the day. And if you can alleviate a pain that he's dealing with or a product issue that he's dealing with and respond quickly, um, he's going to have a whole lot better reaction dealing with you on a customer level. So it is one of we think that our it's sort of a little secret weapon or that we have in our drawer here with our new CRM.
I want to pivot a little bit and talk about people because, um, as any organization knows, you can, with all the best will in the world, you can adopt with the best technology. But if your people don't buy into it, if your people don't adopt it, it just ends up on a shelf and it ends up being wasted money. So, how, in your experience, how did you secure the buy-in and adoption for your sales team, especially given that you've mentioned before that you had an experienced workforce?
Absolutely. When we developed this, they were already utilizing some sort of system that was basically tailored towards our needs. Um, but they had some form of training with their system that we had before on their iPads when they travel out in the field. When we developed the CRM, we came in. We had a 4-day training. We put them in an amphitheater type setting, and we went through the training aspects and showed them how easy it was to navigate around, move around. That was a key player with workbooks is the way the system was set up to way our team can access the information that they're needing to do their job. So we went through that 4-day training, and also we provided them with a little notebook, kind of an easy cheat sheet or a tab, I guess they could get around and navigate if they lose that knowledge when they're traveling on the road. So, by having that CRM that was tailored towards our needs and wants and where they could locate the information they needed to quickly was part of the process and allowing us to expedite and move forward with this.
Well, at the end of the day, if you're solving their problems, right? If you're helping them do their job much better, they're going to be thankful for it, right? They're going to be on board with it. So, how has your relationship with workbooks worked for you? I guess from you said you evaluated different vendors and so forth, but how is your experience working with workbooks different from your different types of vendor relationships you might have had in the past?
Yeah, it's met by none. There's not one out there that I can think of. We're in the process right now of looking through web developer a new website. And I said, wish we could find a company just like Workbooks. There's no issues. Being able to communicate with your customer one on one and have that problem solved quickly is probably the biggest pain point, and we have not had that issue with workbooks. They're on spot, they're on call. We're not dealing with a third party that's dealing with this is their software. This is what they do best. That's their job. And there is just not another company out there. In fact, like I said, we were mentioning looking for another company to develop our website. I said, really, it would be nice if we could find another workbooks out there.
So I want to ask you a question about complexity because you mentioned that you took this decision about 4 years ago, which happened to be around the same time as COVID. So clearly there were a lot of things that were going on, and some of the issues that I get when I talk to people is, but how am I going to embark on this kind of new transformation when I'm busy doing my day job? So, what kind of advice would you give to leaders in the same space who are thinking, look, I want to make some change, but it's so hard to do that when I'm trying to do my day to day? What kind of learnings or advice would you give people?
Absolutely. And I think that's a great question. First and foremost, narrow it down to what your needs and wants are with the individual companies. But furthermost, um, the one that's going to communicate with you on a regular basis, that is, going to answer your problem, your issues, and your circumstances that you're dealing with. Find one that's tailored towards your needs and wants. And the other thing that I find great with Workbooks is they're like a family owned company. They're not owned by some big Fortune 500 company. They are a private company and they do a great job of what they do, and that's what they specialize in. And last and foremost would be to communicate with those customers that are utilizing that product. That's where you're going to get your truth.
Okay. And last question, what's next? What's next for this transformation?
Yeah, it's it's great. We continue to grow with workbooks. We've got a mapping feature that utilizes our sales team utilizes when they're traveling on the road. It cuts down on windshield time, is what I call it. It pinpoints locations, dealers that are close to each other without going around the world to get to that dealer. They map it out the night before on the customers that they're going to go see, and then Workbooks has a program that tells them, hey, this is the best route for you to go to be able to utilize your time and your resources. Cuts down on mileage. And first and foremost, we get to see more customers in a day than what we were using before we had workbooks. So it's been a huge savings to us. And uh, I tell you, if it wasn't for us implementing this year before COVID, we wouldn't have had the record sales that we had the year COVID affected us. So it's definitely had a lasting relationship, lasting impression on us.
So improved efficiency, better customer service, better sales, I imagine better margins. So all round winner. Keep it up, and hopefully we'll hear more from you in the next couple of years, see how this transformation evolves. So thanks so much for sharing.
Thank you, Maria, and greatly appreciate the time spending with you. Thank you.
Here's the kicker.